Anime versus manga, a debate older than time itself and almost as old as the Goku versus Saitama debate. For years, decades, people have been saying manga is stupid because no colors equals dumb. And on the other side, we had manga readers saying anime fans can't read, anime fans dumb. That's not even exaggerated, to be honest. That's literally how most of these arguments go until today, where I will be diving a bit deeper into the argument and try to enlighten both sides as objective as possible. So what is better, anime or manga? Why do people prefer manga? Because they are fucking nerds. No, okay, I'm sorry, but one of the biggest reasons why people prefer manga is because this is the story how the mangaka intended it to be. You don't have to worry about what's canon and what isn't. Everything is canon. Anime is 80% the same thing, sure, but in the end they will either skip past some panels or even make new ones we didn't have in the manga. But that's not canon. And sometimes it may be annoying because it contradicts stuff which actually is canon. Even the slightest difference in text can totally change how you perceive the moment. One of the biggest changes an anime probably can make are filler episodes or even arcs. Even though nowadays fillers have become much more rare, they still exist. And sure, someone who is more into anime like me and my audience who all subscribe, I'm sure of it, because they are so smart, we all know what a filler is. Most people don't though. Bro, people genuinely think Luffy got his scar from a filler arc in which Zoro gave him a scar. Sure, this one's a bit extreme because why would they not just watch Marineford? And if they did, how the fuck do you confuse this? Still, I think you all get what I'm trying to say. Manga is also more detailed. Essentially because animating is so expensive, you can't animate every single panel from the manga, even though that's what fans demand. Sure, sometimes it's only one panel of something unimportant, goofy, or whatever, like a side character poking their nose. But sometimes it's stuff that would have really added onto the consuming experience. Even if it's not a lore-changing thing, it's stuff that helps building up characters and their connections and other stuff. Like in Attack on Titan, when Eren and Hanji did experiments on what he could do in his Titan form, and they built houses and ran through other experiments. That's cool. I would have loved to see that animated. Or severely Hunter x Hunter, when they cut Gon having met Kite as a child from the beginning, and it made less sense in the anime as to why Gon and Kite had that connection. Though to be fair, that was only 2011. Another cool thing about manga, it's weekly, and not weekly like anime. Whenever it starts, it goes weekly until it's finished. Sure, there are some exceptions like Chainsaw Man for example, but even that went weekly for like 100 chapters in contrast to the anime, which split one season into two. So you can read your favorite manga weekly and don't have to wait years for another season. And sometimes you don't even get a season. RIP, no game, no life. This also means that the manga is in front of the anime in most cases. So you can read it before the anime watcher. And sure, in the end it may not matter if you consumed the story 1 year before or 1 year afterwards. Well, that's how it used to be in an age of decency and where spoilers didn't exist. The funny thing is, if you read the manga you still can get spoiled, but it's less likely, and also the spoilers are only out like a few days beforehand, whereas if you watch the anime, the second a chapter drops until the moment it gets animated, which is like about a year or maybe even 2, you are not safe from getting spoiled, especially if it's an important moment. Reading manga because you don't want to get spoiled shouldn't be a reason, but sadly it is. Reading a manga is also more comfortable, let's be real. You can just open your phone or grab a manga and just read it wherever and whenever you want to, in whatever tempo you want or how much you want as well. You are in a bus on your way to work? Sure, just read a few pages. You are in class and bored? Sure, just read a few pages. You are at a party in the bathroom and your crush waits outside and calls you into bed? Sure, just read a few pages. It's just so much easier. If you want to watch an anime, you kinda have to plan at least 20 minutes because only lunatics stop mid-episodes. I am lunatics, okay? I don't even care. I do this sometimes, but I don't feel proud and it feels like a crime. Also, you need headphones because you don't want everyone hearing "Yamete kudasai" at full volume, and if you had full volume and someone was next to you, I'm sorry. Now that's great and all, but what speaks for anime? Because right now every manga reader is like spitting on God 100%, but it ain't that simple. What makes an anime an anime? The animation. You know, sometimes my genius frightens even myself. No, but obviously people prefer anime because it's actually moving and not just some pictures. That's how it's always been. That's why comic book movies are more successful than comic books or even regular books and their movie counterparts. How many of you read Harry Potter and how many have watched the movies? See, people like movement, especially in the most popular genre of anime, which isn't shonen, because shonen is just the demographic. See, I'm smart. Shit, I think. So the most popular genre is probably action adventure, and of course you would wanna consume those animated because guess what? There are a few battles in them, and seeing people beat the shit out of each other is actually cooler than reading it. What also adds onto the fights or just show in general are sound effects and voice actors and OSTs. Sure, reading pew, boom, bang is cool. It really isn't. But actually hearing it is a bit more pleasant, some would argue. Music is like the most popular thing in human history of anything, probably behind boobs, but closely followed by throwing your trash like a basketball into the trash can first time in front of all your homies. So it's pretty popular, for good reason as well. If you have a cool thing for your eyes, which you like reading, and add sound effects and music and chemical X, you get the Powerpuff Girls, or a great experience. I don't know, last time I did it I got the Powerpuff Girls, but the time before I got a great experience. Results may vary. This went a little off-road, but the simple message is I like when sound does the sound thing. Also, the anime can, most of the time it doesn't, but it can elevate the story to a higher level with either animation, voice acting or whatever. A great example for that is, of course, One Piece, where the anime is just leagues above the manga. No, I'm kidding, of course I'm talking about Demon Slayer, where we have a boring manga and Ufotable turned it into one of the most popular shows out there right now. Or another example is probably Mob Psycho. I love Mob Psycho, and sure, the story is still the same roughly in the manga, but the visuals aren't it, man. Bones made it 100 times better, and that goes for many anime, even if it's just certain points of the story. Like I jokingly said One Piece a second ago, and of course the manga is miles ahead of the anime, but at its peak the anime clearly outshines the manga, like it's not even close. The final point is that anime is just easier to consume when you consume it. Sure, you can read manga whenever and wherever and whatever you want, but when you watch anime, you don't have to give it all your attention every second. If you watch a dub, you can even scroll through your phone or whatever you want to do at boring scenes. With manga, you can't really do that as you still have to read it. That's also how most people now consume things, as far as I can see, which is kinda stupid, not gonna lie. People skip forward a minute at anime whenever they get bored, or they let it play on the background, and that's so weird. Like, how much did TikTok screw y'all's attention span? So, what is better now? Both have their perks, therefore both are fine and everyone is winning. No, of course no one wants to hear the pussy answer. Obviously it depends on the person, yada yada yada. If you like to consume anime lightly or watch it for the action, hey, anime is more your thing. If you want to dive deeper into it or have an attention span longer than 1 minute, you should definitely check out the manga and give it a try. I think you might like it. Personally, I like anime more because colors go red and blue and green and sound does the kaboom and pang effects. I am so good with words. But to not chicken out of a definitive answer, manga is slightly better than anime. That's the conclusion I came up with. Do you agree? And I'm not talking about your personal opinion, but after hearing my argument and after thinking through it as objectively as possible, do you agree with it? Or do you even have more arguments? Write that into the comments. In the end, I think we can all agree that you should like the video and subscribe, and also that light novels are for fucking losers. Bye!